Hey guys, welcome to the 2015 GridCast wrap-up show of the NPGL draft.
Yeah, it was fast and furious in this place.
Holy
So
cow.
we came here thinking we'd kind of chill, drink some coffee, watch a draft go on.
Oh, no.
It was ridiculous.
It was nothing like that.
So every 3 minutes in the first few rounds, I can't remember, was the first and second round.
Well, it's supposed to be 3 minutes. I think it was more like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and then they switched to 2 minutes, and it was just like a race car.
Yeah.
I
mean, if you would have extended all the times all the way out, it should have been 3:30, something like that it would end. And it wrapped up around 1:15.
And we're going to get some input from the commissioner, Aaron Bailey, to ask him exactly maybe why it went so fast. So maybe a lot of the teams were a lot more prepared this time.
Yeah.
Maybe they knew their draft picks. There wasn't a whole lot of trading, really. I think a couple of picks got traded to next year, which was kind of.
Well, there's some trading going on in rounds 4 and 5 between New York, Boston, DC, and who's the other one? In Miami.
Okay.
So there's some trading going on there.
That must have been when I
some
was drinking
takeaways. Yeah, some takeaways from this draft. We interviewed Adam Cantrell, and off the grid, he was picked up by the San Francisco Fire. We also interviewed Maddie Rasnick back.
We've been following Maddie
episodes.
since day one.
Yeah, since back in November.
We're really excited for her.
She was picked up by DC Brawlers, which is pretty awesome because that's in our backyard.
Yeah, and Alyssa Ritchie.
And Alyssa Ritchie. Also, if you check out episode number 12, she was interviewed by us in Quadrant 2, and she was picked up also by the DC Brawlers.
Yeah, we put up all that on our Facebook page, so go by their Facebook pages, like them as athletes. They all have athlete pages. I'll do that for all the athletes that got picked today because, you know, let this soak in. These folks was their dream to get picked up by a pro team.
Yeah. And
they got it. So, you know, big props to all the athletes that got picked today. We're going to kick it off here with Aaron Bailey, the commissioner. So just hang out for just a second. We'll be right back.
Yep. Thanks for coming back. We are here with the NPGL commissioner, Mr. Aaron Bailey. How you doing, sir?
Very well, thank you.
So how do you think
exciting
it went?
day. It went very well. We have, as of today, we have 67 new spectacular athletes into the league across all 8 teams. I think that everybody, from the feedback that I received, was very happy with the talent pool this year, especially on the women's side. So it's exciting for us. We have some sort of highlight points is that we have our youngest athlete in the league this year, Coulter Turchin, who's 17 years old.
He's awesome.
We met him at the Combine.
Yeah.
Good kid.
Good kid, solid kid, obviously a solid athlete.
Yep.
We have a couple new 40-plus people that were drafted today. Jeb was a 40-plus male athlete that New York drafted that I think he'll be a star.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the teams got what they wanted and needed. It was interesting to see the strategies from like Baltimore because they had a whole roster to fill.
Yep.
So all in all, I was very happy with the way it went. It went smooth. There were quite a few trades. We even had a trade that traded for next year's pick.
We saw. So this was obviously our first draft in person, and it was like fast and furious, right?
Yeah. Next time, can you just slow the hell down?
Yeah. Well,
so let's give some historical perspective, though.
Sure.
So let's look back and give your perspective on how the draft went last year.
Sure. Well, the draft was very different structurally last year as far as how we covered it because we had the athletes in the same room with us. So with that, obviously there's a time component. Last year it took about 5 hours. And this year we did it in under 3. And
way under 3.
Yeah.
It's good, though.
And it's probably just because of that component. It probably would have gone a lot longer with all the athletes if we would have had them present. Let's see. Difference between last year and this year. That was probably the biggest difference is how we covered it.
Do you think the teams were more prepared this year?
I think a lot more prepared.
It looked like it.
They're not. Last year they were trying to figure it out. Like we all were to a certain extent. This year they knew they weren't building a team. Baltimore was, but the rest of them were filling gaps, enhancing positions, adding some strength or body weight, whatever they felt like they needed to do. So it was more specialized. But what was interesting about that to me is when I was watching it, because they weren't filling a team besides Baltimore, your specialists, if they got picked, it absolutely shook up the order of the draft.
Yep.
because there wasn't like they were filling 10 spots. They were actually filling one spot with a particular athlete.
And you could tell certain times there were several teams that were just kind of
yeah, absolutely.
It was a little size, not big size. Nobody's flipping tables or anything, but they knew, like, oh, we missed that one.
Right. And everyone's still cordial, clapping and everything.
Sure.
No one tried to flip over any tables.
Again, not being there for last year. This year, it not being, broadcast live or anything, very professional. You would think with no eyes watching that might not always be the case, but very professional, very cordial, very efficient. Which I think is, huge props to the league for that. It was well run. I think that's why it was, over so quickly. Is everybody was prepared. It seemed like it ran smoothly. How do you think it's going to look next year? What can we look forward to?
Well, let me make one more comment about this year that was kind of interesting. Because they weren't filling out their rosters again like Baltimore, a lot of really top-notch athletes that normally would have been picked in the first round last year sometimes were left to the second, third, and fourth round. So you saw some incredible athletes even drafted as late as fourth, fifth, sixth round.
Yep.
So just because you may not have gotten drafted in the first round, that doesn't mean you're any less of an athlete or will make an impact on the grid this year.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that.
So the teams had specific needs.
Yep.
Yeah, you could definitely see that because there was a lot of strategy in play. So it wasn't necessarily like in maybe another drafts that you would watch or like the star comes out first pick, first draft, first round. Not necessarily. You could tell that there were really amazing athletes picked round 2, 3. It's
yeah. For example, Will Hall. He was drafted, I think, 6th round or 5th round.
Mm-hmm.
He's a first round pick.
Right.
On most people's teams anyway. So that's just
it was hard to keep up what round we were in.
So
we were going crazy.
For people watching, why does a supplemental draft happen a week later?
Sure. So they're drafted, right? We do have parameters around the player contract and what the player's obligations are. But there's a lot for the team and the athlete to work out. Logistically, compensation, on and on, right? Travel schedules. So, in general, they'll all get there. But in cases that they don't, we need to kind of reshuffle the athlete pool to allow the teams to pick up any additional athletes they may need to fill their roster. This year, strategically, because we have a free agent pool, and it runs in tandem with the drafted athletes as far as they're all eligible at the same time now, that – most of the teams stopped short, actually. That's why we only went into the 9th round instead of we needed to actually go into the 11th round.
Okay.
If everyone would have filled their roster 100%.
Right.
So almost every team stopped short because they want to see what happens with the reshuffling of the athletes and also to compare what's available on the free agency side to what they potentially and how it fits in with who they drafted today in their existing team.
Yeah, we're frozen free agent. The free agency was frozen for a bit. Now it's open back again.
That's correct.
Like as of today.
Yeah,
right,
I mean, the teams know that they can start signing free agents starting tomorrow.
Okay.
We also noticed there weren't a lot of 40-plus female athletes that were picked.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, we thought that was interesting.
I agree.
So there's still holes to
there
fill.
Is.
So if you're a 40-plus female athlete, it's not over.
Right.
Yep.
So a week from today, we're going to have our first supplemental draft. 2 weeks from today, we're going to have our second and final supplemental draft. Rules are the same. Draft pick order is the same. So it's just basically they have 2 more opportunities to fill the rest of the roster.
And can you follow that online?
You can. We'll have the draft tracker that was online today. It'll be up doing the same thing.
Cool.
And how do you see this running next year?
Next year, I think that we'll at least have 30% of the athletes, if not more, involved. I think that having the athletes involved in our process, I think they really appreciate it, right?
Yep.
I think our fans appreciate it.
It's exciting.
It is.
A lot of drama.
Right. So, we've made some decisions this year to be, more conscious of cost and the way we do things. And this felt good to us this year, doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But next year, as we, gain momentum, et cetera, we may choose to incorporate athletes into the draft. So I say next year there may be 50 to 100 athletes here.
Yeah, that'll be a blast.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And then they get to stand up with them and get a picture and hopefully come on over to us and
Put
get
the
an
jersey
interview.
on.
Well, and that's another thing. Soon, just as a tease, we're going to have a jersey unveiling of the 2015 High League jerseys, and we wouldn't have had that yet.
Yeah.
So
Right.
next year we will, though.
Yeah. And that's going to be a blast. Seeing an athlete come up with the commissioner,
Yeah.
holding the jersey.
Sure.
That's just a huge moment for an athlete to get when they become a pro. I mean, not to take anything away from folks that got picked this year, because I know all over the country there's athletes that are just on top of the world right now.
They
got picked. They are finally a pro athlete in the Grid League.
Yep. It's exciting. This is one of my favorite days of the year. Of course, this is a league-run event. I'm very fortunate to have my role and to be able to run this. It's exciting for me. Really exciting.
This is pretty much the kickoff of the season,
Yes.
as it were.
And so we're excited as well. And we're excited also to see a lot of the athletes that we followed during the pro days and earlier get picked up. Maddie Rasnick,
Sure.
Alyssa Ritchie, Adam Cantrell, Coulter was also picked up. We saw during the combine.
And there's some folks that we weren't as aware of that we're going to be hunting down at the moment we leave here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of great athletes. And we've got some coaches coming up next. And a few folks coming in from we have L.A. and Miami and D.C. coaches that we're going to talk to, get their feedback.
So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Commissioner.
Hey, guys, we are here at the NPGL 2015 draft and with the new Miami head coach, Doug Chapman. How you doing?
That's any better about me a sin.
So
we've been trying to get Coach on for a while here, and we finally got him snagged because he's been a busy man since you took over the team.
Yes, sir.
So how'd it go with the draft?
Went as expected. We had a whole hit list of athletes we wanted, but ultimately it came down to it's like draft order. We had a pretty good season last year, so we're low in the draft order. So a couple of athletes we could have wanted, but we had contingencies in place to pick people we wanted.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you about that. So your first pick in the first round was Brooke Wells, a strong barbell mover. Why did you think she was a good, important first pick for the team?
One, she's going to support Lauren Brooks greatly.
Yeah.
She's going to support Lauren. Also, she's got great cyclic rate and movements. She's also a very good gymnast. And her engine has been coming along. I've been coaching her for several months now. And she's coming along great. She's going to do really well in the North Central region.
Awesome.
Nice.
And someone who I was really happy that you picked was Hannah Richards.
Mm-hmm.
I know that she was formerly with the Carolina Crush before that team doesn't exist anymore. So I was really happy that she was signed with you guys. But how is she going to help the Miami Surge?
Well, she's a gymnast. I mean, she's 4'11".
Yeah.
Cycles fast, and she's going to
moves really quick.
Yeah, which is awesome. Which obviously is a skill set we need in grid.
Yeah, and something I found out that was really interesting while we were watching the entire process was that in a male and female sport, the first two selected athletes were female, which is awesome. And in the first 3 rounds, 14 females and 10 males, if you look at the breakdown.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Your 2 first picks were female.
Okay.
Which I thought was pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, and what's really cool about it is you didn't obviously do that on purpose. Right, so we get to sit back and analyze it, but watching the coaches, it wasn't. Well, I'm picking a female. I'm picking athletes, right? Which is really cool in a co-ed sport. That although we're highlighting, it's kind of our job to highlight that, but really in the sport, it's athletes and athletes and athletes, which is really true co-ed, right? I mean, it's just a great mixture.
I think it is. I think it's a phenomenal thing because you've got both men and women working together for the common goal. One of the things that we had on our list of athletes was 6 or 7 women options before a male option.
Oh, wow.
And I don't remember the exact number because we worked on it and drank beers.
Was it a late night?
It wasn't that late, but because it's pretty clear what we need as far as supporting our athletes. Lauren's a workhorse for us, and we need to make sure that she's fresh towards the end.
Yep.
So somebody can take the load off of her or maybe step in for her. We need a gymnastics specialist. Even though Lulu is going to be crushing it this year, all of her numbers are better. Now Nicole Caruso is just doing a great job. All of these athletes are now going to vie for a starting position.
Yeah.
So
that's a good problem to
have,
right?
Yeah, it's always good to watch.
Yeah. What's going to be cool is that we're going to have a very systematic way of actually selecting the athletes to be on the grid.
Okay.
And everybody's going to have an opportunity to play. There are no starters on the Miami team right now.
Yet.
None.
Right.
in several weeks, when we do it, collect all the data, we run all the races, guess what?
Yeah.
We'll have starters. But right now, whether it's just like, like Willis and I were talking a while ago, and it's like every year he was in the pro football, he walked in and had to re-earn a spot.
Mm-hmm.
There is no entitlement. Because you were a web celebrity 2 years ago does not mean shit now.
Right. Yeah.
Time to play.
What matters now is what you can do for the team today.
Right.
And throughout the season. So, I mean, Nick Arankar is one of my athletes for a long time. He's been developing greatly. You know what? Fantastic. He's going to do great. He's going to earn his spot the same as everybody else. Same as Alex Anderson. Same as everybody else on the team.
Yep.
There are no handouts.
Yeah, I think that's to be expected. It's good to hear that's the way it's going. But I think, in all professional sports and all, high-level sports, right, that's why these athletes are who they are. They show up to play the game.
You know what's really fun about Nick, too? He was on our show, I think, episode 9 or 7. I can't remember. He's a real student of the game, which is pretty awesome. After the episode, we talked to him for about an hour just because he wanted to share some information with us and teach us more about the game that I wasn't aware of. And it's pretty awesome to have someone like that on your team.
Yeah, that educated.
Well, what's great about Nick, he's not just, he's a freaking physical specimen. He's a stud. He's a great father. He's a great husband. His family's awesome. I mean, everything is good about him. Plus, he's a smart and he's a competitive guy.
Yep.
So he's going to study and he wants to contribute to the team.
Yeah.
And I like that because I'm going to say this out loud. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Go
course.
for it.
You sure?
This is the
This is
web.
the
You can
internet.
say anything.
Doesn't
You can say
matter.
anything you want to?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. I'm not omniscient. I don't know everything.
Yeah.
And so when it comes down to it, is like I listen to my athletes, and my athletes give me feedback. I take it on board because they're doing it. They're doing some things that may see something differently than I do. Whereas, like if I were more of a big, gigantic Richard,
Yeah.
it would be.
You can go ahead and say Dick. It's fine.
I call Danny a dick every episode. We usually don't catch it on
Right.
Yeah, he said penis. No, basically it's like if I'm super insecure and it's only my way, guess what? I'm not going to have the best team on the field.
Right.
Okay, so I'm willing to listen to whatever we have to do. You know what? And the thing is, if I make a bad call, I'll own it. I'll own it. I've been very lucky because I'm walking into a well-recruited, excellent team. And we just picked some great athletes.
Yeah, I think Miami's going to be one of the ones to watch, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. I also have a question, though. So from a team perspective, what does the supplemental drafts do for you?
Okay, a couple things are going to happen. This is what I think is going to happen, and Mather would probably be a better person for that. So we got this group of athletes, right? We have letter of intents out of all of our athletes on our team. Now we're going to go into the contract process. Within the contract process, maybe you don't come to terms with somebody.
Things can happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's nature, I mean, people fall off a pull-up rig. They bump their head. I don't know. They find that the world's going to end tomorrow morning, so they decide to sell all their assets and leave. Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, people do stuff.
Don't hold out for $1 million. That's my advice.
Yeah.
Probably not going to happen this year.
Highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Don't hold out.
Not this year.
Somebody could happen. I mean, I'm sure Kotler's got something on the side where he's like, hey, yeah, I'll slip you some $100 bills if you come in early. No.
He sings to him.
Yeah. Oh, he does. He does.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah,
That's
he
right.
doesn't pay for
That's
it.
right.
He doesn't pay for it. He just sings for him.
Yeah. Wow. It's like waterboarding, but worse,
I can't hate on that. I love you, Justin.
I want to be waterboarded. Don't sing anymore.
All right, Coach. Hey, we really appreciate having you on the wrap-up show here for the draft.
Thank you.
We look forward to having you on the show again later, and this is going to be a badass season for the Surge.
Hell
we see
yeah.
it coming.
We're going to earn it.
Yeah.
I haven't earned my chops as a coach yet. I have had
Well,
some
I
success.
think you have in the CrossFit
other
functional
capacities,
fitness world.
but I get you.
No,
Time to do it in grid.
I am a rookie who is learning and going to work my ass off to be the best coach I possibly can be, and that's exactly what I expect from my athletes.
We're gonna love watching it. Thanks for being here.
All right, thank you.
Up next, we got head coach of the New York Rhinos.
Yep. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, we're back here at the 2015 NPGL draft. Draft has wrapped up. We're here with the New York Rhinos head coach, Frederick Agidius. I got it right.
Ooh, that was
Nice
impressive.
job.
Yeah.
Nice job.
I got one of those names, too. I tell people my name is Conan, and they say Connor.
Or Conan.
Or whatever. Thanks for being here with us. So
for
we're
having
just
me.
trying to get a little coach perspective on how the draft went for you. And Danny's got a whole list of the folks that you drafted, and just kind of get your insight.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So your first pick was Wes Kitts in round 1. Can you tell us a little about Wes and what he brings to the Rhinos?
That decision actually goes back to last year when we lost the quarterfinal to Phoenix. Most people that watched that match remember Danny Nichols running down the grid for those 35 clean and jerks for a double. Andrew Rape 2 seconds in front of him. We ended up losing that race by a second and a half and cost us the season.
Yeah.
Hats off to Andrew Rape. He did everything he could. Danny Nichols was just too strong. So we needed somebody who could step into that role. And on top of that, also free Andrew for some other things on the grid. He's an incredible athlete. And he was put in situations last year where he didn't get to shine as much as he possibly could. So this year we're extremely excited to have a guy like Wes step in. He can pull all the heavy weights off the floor and leave Andrew fresh for everything else.
Yes, nice. So I noticed that a lot of the teams were pulling heavy on the female at the beginning. You guys went heavy on the male at the beginning. You had on the second round you had Nick Bloch. Can you tell me a little bit about why you picked Nick?
Well, our plan going into this draft was to try to find somebody to replace Annie. Given how the first couple of picks went and the rumors going around the room of who wanted to go where, we decided to stack up on the guy side simply because we felt that the level on the female side would still be high enough later on in the draft.
Okay.
So that's why we decided to go that way around. Nick Bloch is also an incredible athlete, very, very strong, big-bodied athlete. With the addition of the heavy medicine balls, I also expect other odd-size objects coming into the grid.
Yes.
Having bigger athletes is definitely going to be an advantage. On top of that, he's also an incredible mover. So I'm very, very excited to bring him into camp and see what we can put up.
So if I understand that correctly, if you're talking about big objects, does Nick Bloch have a really big wingspan then to be able to take on those objects?
He is like a standard middle linebacker size guy.
Oh, wow.
He's a big
dude.
bloke, big dude, big
Nice.
shoulders, big chest. So
Yeah, because those soft stones kind of threw everybody for a little bit of a loop.
Absolutely.
I mean, we expected it heavy, but not big.
well, the fact though that it's so far away from your body makes it a really, really odd object to move
Oh yeah,
around.
I tried.
I couldn't move it
tried
with my
his stuff.
foot, much less my arms. The 250. I got the 75.
Then you had Jeb Simmons on in round number 3. Can you tell me a little bit about that pick?
I've been watching, we've been watching Jeb Simmons for quite some time, and he really stood out at the combine. He was one of the first people to pick up the 250-pound ball. He kind of just looked around, went over to it, picked it up.
That's
and
impressive.
That's very, very impressive. He's a construction worker, so he's used to lifting heavy things. And then he's got a great beard. He's got such a great beard.
I think you should get a point extra on the grid for having an amazing beard.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The better looking your masters are, like you should get a head start, right?
Damn right.
We got Ron Matthews and Jeb Simmons now. Like
Yeah, Jeb is you guys will see pictures of him on the web and everything. We've seen him at, I think it was the DC Pro Days. Is that the one he came to? DC Baltimore Pro Day. And then at the combine. I mean, he just looks like a walking badass.
he does.
I mean, he just looks
huge
like
beard.
it. Yeah.
Socks are on point. Everything
Right.
is just
Right.
is working for him.
Yeah.
So you didn't have a pick on the 4th round. How did that happen? You traded away your pick for something.
We ended up doing a trade already in the first round, trading first round picks with Miami, simply because the player that we wanted to pick would rather go to Miami. So in order to get a little extra value out of that, instead of just passing her along, we made a trade. So we got their 3rd round pick instead of their 4th.
That's a
oh,
good
that's
trade.
awesome.
So,
that was a good trade.
So we ended up getting a little more value out of moving down one spot. So we're happy.
Nice. So overall, how do you feel that the draft went for New York Rhinos?
I feel good about it. We didn't fill the immediate need of finding a replacement for Annie, but I don't feel that replacement was there in the first place. Given the format change this year, we have the option to do substitutions, which will allow for 2 separate athletes in their combined effort to replace what we lost. And I am very, very confident that we made the right calls, and we're going to make that happen.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show with us.
Of course, thanks for having me. A pleasure.
And good luck next season.
Thank you,
Look
sir.
forward
We'll
to
see you on
watching
the
you guys.
grid.
Hey guys, here after the draft of the 2015 NPGL, we are here with the head coach of the DC Brawlers, Mr. Justin Kotler.
How you doing, man?
Doing fantastic.
Good.
That was Fast and Furious.
It was.
Loved the whole thing.
Yeah.
So your first pick was Sean Ramirez. So tell us a little about Sean.
I think most people know Sean. Obviously, CrossFit Games champion.
Yep.
He's obviously an unbelievable athlete. I mean, I think that's the thing that we like most about him is just how good of an athlete he is and how well-rounded he is.
Yeah.
So we can pretty much use him anywhere. He's not a specialist, but
He's straight up utility.
He can do
general,
everything, and he can do everything well, And
Mm-hmm.
so we're going to be able to plug him into positions. And for our team this year, the way it's constructed, we actually, we have weight movers, we have bodyweight specialists, and now we've got another guy who we can kind of sprinkle in positions where we need him throughout a match. And 40 plus, listen, 40 plus is. The way that it's formatted now, 7 and 7, you can substitute, for everyone, but most likely that 40 plus is the one player who's playing that entire match, most likely. So it's an unbelievably important position, and he's got an incredible engine also.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to be able to last those 2 hours, and he's got a nice, high work capacity. He's going to be great.
And then he also picked up Jessica Malone.
Yeah, we're really excited about Jess.
Yeah.
I think obviously now it's going to come out now. Our team captain and bodyweight specialist from last year, and basically in my opinion, our team MVP Lindsay Maneri is going to be retiring.
That is such a crush.
Yeah, it's tough. I tell you, I've shed a few tears about it.
I'm about to shed a tear now.
Yeah,
she's a great girl.
She's a great girl, great athlete.
Unbelievable
great
athlete.
ambassador of the sport. She will stay on with us, and she will be our gymnastics coach.
Oh, she'll be
which is
That's
awesome
great to
coach.
hear.
Yeah, but obviously that quickly became a position of need for us.
Yep.
And we had 2 bodyweight specialists on our board, and there was only one really pure bodyweight specialist on the female side at the combine, and that was Jessica Malone. So we got a chance to watch her all weekend, and we actually got a chance to coach her on Sunday. And she's awesome. I don't know if you guys got a chance to really watch her. She's pretty impressive, man.
So she's really impressive.
Yeah.
A couple picks that we are really excited about in the GridCast because we had met them before, we've interviewed them before, we're pretty excited about. One is Maddie Rasnick.
Yeah.
So tell me the thought process behind getting Maddie.
Well, so I've spoken to Maddie before and spent some time with her down at the DC Baltimore Combine. She's just really cool, man.
She is
awesome,
really cool.
Right?
Yeah, she's a good people.
And I really like her husband as well. Great
Chris.
guy, and she's great attitude. She's always smiling, and then besides that, man, she's a beast, dude.
She's strong.
Oh my God,
right? I mean,
she's strong.
She can move weight.
She's raw strong.
Raw strong, and I think we'll work with her and we'll refine some of the movements. But I mean, she power cleaned 255 in the ladder this weekend.
I know.
And with those new stones, I mean, she's going to be able to.
And she snatched those stones up, and she's
yeah.
got the reach for it because
yeah.
a lot of ladies are not going to have that arm length, to be able to get around those stones.
And she also cycles really fast.
Yeah, she does.
Amazingly enough,
really fast.
I think she's been working on it a lot, and that's I think with you guys in your system, she's going to go to the stratosphere.
I think she and Becca
really,
are going to
really
complement each other a lot too. I can tell.
I mean, I think Maddie's going to be great. We'll get her into the system. We'll get her into training camp, and I think she's got a great energy. I think she's going to fit in well with what we do.
Yeah.
I also think she's just going to be super excited to play.
Yeah.
When to get drafted. I think she's going to be so stoked.
She's on top of the world right now.
Yeah, so I'll speak to her later today, and I thought that was a great pick, and we were very surprised she was still there. I mean, it was 6th round, right? I mean,
yeah.
I looked at Dave and we were like, really? She's still there? Okay, we got to take her.
So another one that we're pretty excited about she's an Oreo eater, and she deems herself the sexual CrossFitter. It's Alyssa Ritchie.
Yeah, Alyssa's a character. We've been speaking for the past few weeks. She's a Charleston Marauder, and obviously, part of the DC Brawlers, I guess.
System,
right? Umbrella. And she's interesting, right? She's obviously bodyweight extraordinaire,
firecracker,
great weightlifter too. She's obviously a great personality. She's an interesting cat.
And you see her everywhere. She went to the Arnold Classic and she lifted there.
Yeah.
She was at the Juggernaut just recently.
Yeah.
She's a great ambassador for the sport.
She's got pretty good lifts.
Out there.
For her body weight, for her size.
Lifts for her size. So like I said, I mean, with what happened with Lindsay, and now with the new format of the 7 and 7. we think obviously that both Alyssa and Jess are going to be able to help us immensely, and honestly, I mean, we're looking at it with some Jack and Jills. Can you imagine those two together?
It's going to be fun to watch.
It's going to be pretty scary, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
If you just put a bag of Oreos at the finish line, Alyssa's like,
yeah, no problem. I got that taken care of. Man. I'll just chuck them at her. Man. From quad to quad, I'll just throw a few out to the next.
So instead
quad.
of a bottle of water, you'll just chuck Oreos at her?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us on the wrap-up show for the NPGL draft.
It's always good to have you on, Coach.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, good luck this season.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate
thanks.
it. Thanks.